Hola amigos, I'm Pablo Sainz Villegas. Happy birthday for the 80th anniversary of the Utah Symphony. 80 years bringing music to the community, bringing grandparents with grandkids, parents with children, all together celebrating who we are through music. I have wonderful memories of my time with the Utah Symphony. And thank you all, because it is you who give a special meaning to music, to your music. Music belongs to you, and the Utah Symphony and all of us, we are all there for you. I look forward very much to going back this season, this coming season on January, and sharing with you more exciting Spanish music. That's who I am, the guitar, and I'm from Spain. That's my voice, that's the only true voice I can share with you, my roots. I look forward very much to it, and I know it's been hard, and it is time for reflection, it is time to be united, and together we'll get through this stronger and probably a little bit wiser. So keep your spirits high, keep your hearts warm, and looking forward to seeing you very soon. Thank you all for sharing with me and creating with me unforgettable memories and creating the beautiful magic of music. Let me share with you a little bit of what I played last season for you all. It is a beautiful piece that invites us to the essence of who we are. It reminds us the important things that we all have in life. Health, family, friends, community, music. Thank you. Hasta pronto. Thank you. Hasta pronto, amigos.
Welcome, everyone, to Utah Symphony's 80th birthday party. My name is Jeff Counts. I am the co-host of the Utah Symphony Utah Opera's Ghostlight podcast, as well as the onstage host for Utah Symphony's Unwound concert series. You just heard two dances from Terpsichore by Michael Pretorius, performed by Utah Symphony brass musicians and arranged by trumpeter Jeff Luke. The music comes from the year 1612. But that's not the year I want you to think about right now. We need to be thinking about the year 1940, particularly May of 1940. During that time, war was raging in Europe. It had just come to France. Churchill was ascendant, just in time a few weeks later to help the Dunkirk rescue and evacuation. But it wasn't just about conflict, 1940. It was about the movie Fantasia, which premiered. It was about Richard Wright's Native Son, a book that was premiered that year. It was also about an 18-year-old French boy walking his dog named Robot, stumbling onto the Lascaux cave paintings for the first time. The Depression was newly over in the United States, but WPA projects like the Symphony in Salt Lake City were meant to bring music and jobs to people who desperately needed both. And from that, Utah Symphony was formed. So fast forward 80 years later to today, we find ourselves actually in a situation not dissimilar to that formative moment. The arts were a font of optimism then, and they must be so again. So this evening, 80 years later, we're going to have a party for ourselves and for our wonderful orchestra. We're going to have interviews with orchestra members and other important voices. We're going to have greetings from friends here in Utah and around the globe. And of course, we're going to have music. Next up, in fact, is a fun glimpse into the world Utah Symphony was born, featuring a man who was clearly himself born several decades too late. When not busy in Abravanel Hall, our principal clarinet, Tad Calcara, also leads the New Deal Swing Band. So check out this fantastic video of Tad performing Lulu's Back in Town. Take it away, Tad.
Hello everyone, my name is Tad Calcara. I play principal clarinet with the Utah Symphony. Thanks, gentlemen. Hi, everyone. It's me again. I'm sorry, fellas. It's us again. We are pleased to bring you another famous tune from the 1930s, this time featuring the music of Harry Warren and Al Dubin from the movie Broadway Gondoliers, 1935. However, the most famous rendition of this tune comes from Harlem by the great pianist and bandleader, Mr. Thomas Fats Waller. Today's performance will also feature a finger-busting fandango for 3 clarinets. Gentlemen, are you ready?
Yeah!
Well, here it is. Gotta get my old tuxedo pressed. Gotta leave the gravy off my vest, 'cause tonight I've got to look my best. Lulu's back in town. Gotta get a half a buck somewhere. Got to shine my shoes and slick my hair. Got to get myself a boutonniere. Lulu's back in town. You can tell all my pets, all the Salt Lake City coquettes. Yeah, I tell each and every one of them, Mr. T won't be around. No, better tell the mailman not to call. I'm coming home until the fall. And then again, you know, boy, but I'll be home at all. Lulu's back in town. Yeah, I tell each and every one of them, Mr. T won't be around. No, better tell the mailman not to call. I'm coming home until the fall. And then again, you know, boy, might not be home at all. Lulu, I said Lulu. That woman that made that gal, she's back in town.
Dear Utah Symphony, happy 80th anniversary. Thank you very much for all the wonderful music you've been sharing with us.
Hey, Utah Symphony, Hugh Panaro here.
I'm Rune, and greetings from my home in Norway.
Hi, dear friends of Utah Symphony. This is Emmanuel Pau.
Here you're turning 80. Just wanted to say, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
I hope you're safe and healthy, and I can't wait to see you all soon.
Happy birthday.
Well, you can't have a birthday party for an orchestra without inviting some of its favorite guest artists, which is exactly what we've done today. Renowned violinist and Utah fan favorite Augustin Hadelich has joined us today. Welcome, Augustin.
Hi, it's great to see you.
It's so great to have you as well. So this month would have been your 5th visit to Utah Symphony since you debuted here in 2011. So tell us what you've enjoyed most about your interactions with the orchestra and what you think of Salt Lake City.
Well, it was always a lovely time. I love the hall. I love playing in the hall, and I've loved every time I've played with Thierry. It has been just a wonderful musical experience, and the orchestra in those 8 years, I feel like has just been playing better every time I come back. It's just it's at yet another level, and people have been really nice. And I also always really enjoyed the audience, which is they're all different ages. A lot of young people that I saw in the audience whenever I came there, and a very enthusiastic audience is passionate about classical music. I think it's in many ways like very fortunate, the orchestra, and it's also a beautiful place. The last time I went, I think I played Beethoven Concerto, but I had a free day, and I actually went out on the Salt Lake and that was just such an incredible, like awe-inspiring sight to see, to look at this, to look at these natural landscapes. I think it's also such a stunning place. I was really looking forward, and to come back, and so that's, I hope it will not be too long to get in.
We all hope that too, and I'm glad you mentioned Beethoven, because you've performed a lot of pretty great repertoire here. You've done Bartok, Dvorak, Mozart, Beethoven.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a murderer's row of all of the most important pieces of the violin repertoire. So I'm curious, are there any pieces that you really hope Utah Symphony will ask you to do? Is there anything specific you want to put on the record today?
Well, the great thing about playing the violin is that you don't run out of good pieces very quickly. There's a lot of stuff that we haven't done yet. But some of my favorites that I haven't played in Utah would be the Britten Concerto, which I think is just a great masterpiece and a very, very moving work. And of course, Sibelius Concerto is always, it's just one of my favorite pieces ever. But actually, we haven't done Brahms either, which is one of the great concertos. And
you still have Tchaikovsky.
Anyway, there's lots.
Yeah.
There's lots that we can that I hope to one day play in.
Yeah, hopefully not too long, as you say. And I was reading your blog post on your website about what you're doing to stay busy right now, and I recommend everybody read that. Actually, it's fabulous. But I saw in that post, and I'm sorry that I missed this before, but you got a new fiddle in December. And is it true, Augustin, that you have the last Del Gesù? Is this the last one, truly?
That's what they say, because the label says 1745, but Giuseppe Guarneri del Gesù died in 1744. So the theory is that his wife, who was also trained as a violin maker and was kind of helping in the shop, that she wrote the label and kind of finished, put the last touches on. And that this was his last violin.
Augustin, thank you so very much for joining us and being part of the Utah Symphony's 80th birthday party. It's great to have you, and we can't wait to see you in Salt Lake City again soon.
I look forward to it, and it's great to talk to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Utah Symphony. Happy birthday to you. And 80 more.
This birthday party is a gift to you. But if you feel so inclined as to give a gift back to Utah Symphony, especially during this challenging time, you can do so by visiting utahsymphony.org. Now, I'm glad Augustin mentioned Beethoven, because it's an important year for Beethoven too. It's his 250th birthday. Interestingly, Beethoven was featured on that concert way back in May 1940, the year that Utah Symphony became Utah Symphony. In fact, it was the 7th symphony, the second movement of which we're about to play for you now. We took the liberty of filming musicians around the valley to make this a special visual experience as well. Enjoy.
Utah Symphony, this is Kalani Sitake from the BYU football team. We want to express our gratitude and appreciation for everything that you do.
Hi, I'm Benjamin Grosvenor and I wish the Utah Symphony a very happy 80th birthday.
Hello, Utah Symphony. I heard it's your 80th birthday, and I wanted to wish you all the best for the years to come, and just keep doing what you're doing because, frankly, 80 looks really good on you. Happy birthday.
One of the most important parts of Utah Symphony, obviously, is the symphony itself. And we couldn't have an 80th celebration without talking to two of the most important members of the last several years. Nick and Claudia Norton are just recently retired members of Utah Symphony. Nick was principal trumpet. Claudia was part of the double bass section. Welcome, Nick and Claudia.
Thank you, Jeff.
Hi, how you doing?
Great. So I was thinking that Utah Symphony has reached a point, 80 years, where its history is starting to become longer than any one person. But the two of you were around for pretty big chunks of that history, important chunks of that history. So when did you both start, and how much have things changed since you got here?
I was in the orchestra for 50 years, starting in 1967.
Incredible. What about you, Nick?
In 1980, I auditioned for the orchestra. There was a second trumpet opening, and I got that job.
What are your favorite memories from all those years? Utah Symphony has actually done a lot of incredible stuff over its history. And what are the things that you remember most fondly from your time?
From mine, I would have to say just the intersection of my life with Maurice Abravanel at that point in his career was so fortuitous to my life. I was going to be a veterinarian. That's what I was going to do. I loved bass more than anything, but I couldn't consider it a career because music didn't pay enough to be a career. But Abravanel, with his love and passion and his vision for the symphony orchestra, was to make that possible, to make musicians earn a living at making music in a symphony orchestra. And my first year with the orchestra, I think I made under $2,000. But by the third year, it was triple that, which in 1969 was being able to consider that maybe someday it could be, an actual career.
Incredible. What about you, Nick?
Touring with the orchestra was fun. The Olympics was one of a kind opportunity. And but basically my main memories are just the brass section in the orchestra, but especially the brass section, just sort of this camaraderie, this kind of the brass are kind of known as being bad boys sometimes, and we had a lot of fun. And I just really enjoyed the association with a lot of very talented and clever brass players in the orchestra.
I also note that you arrived in the orchestra right about the same time Abravanel Hall did. And, what was it like to sort of tune that building and get used to a new space with the orchestra, especially as a trumpet player?
Yeah, it was exciting. And we had, full houses because people just wanted to go to see the hall. There was a opening concert, I think in '79, that I was not in because I was not in the orchestra yet, and that's with Yehudi Menuhin was soloist,
yeah.
And that was the gala opening. But the first season, which was interesting, was without Abravanel, and he actually for many years came to many concerts, and he was always in the balcony, first balcony, and it was kind of, I don't know, it was fun having him there, just to have somebody, somebody's listening to this music that knows it so well.
He was really a cheerleader. Abravanel always sat up in what we call the Muppet box and looked down on the orchestra, and he was just so enthusiastic, and he led the applause. And on every piece we played, you could just feel his love for the orchestra and his pride in the orchestra.
He went overboard at least once, where we played like a modern piece. The audience was, applauding politely, and he stopped. And he stood up and he's looking at the audience, clapping. And he just clapped hard as he could, and just said, do not stop clapping. It was great.
That is fantastic. Claudia, you mentioned wanting to be a veterinarian, and that doesn't surprise me at all, because anybody who knows you knows that you're a healer. And I'm sure that Nick picked up on that early in his time at the Utah Symphony. And I think one of the great things about performing arts as a profession is that like-minded people come together and once in a while even fall in love. Utah Symphony has a lot of couples, actually. So tell us quickly, what is the Norton family origin story?
Well,
we'll look at her. Why wouldn't?
It's very clear, Nick.
Why not fall in love with her?
I have to say, I fell in love with Nick's playing before I fell in love with him as a person. I couldn't believe that this brass player could be so musical, because us in the string section, they were the brass holes. They were, not the same musical achievement that string players were. And even though I was the lowest string in the orchestra, the basses, I fell for this highest brass player. And he just had a sound and a way of playing that was, it was like a string player. And we were such dear friends for many years before we got together, and we're about to celebrate our 25th wedding anniversary.
You two are truly one of Utah Symphony's royal couples, and I know everybody misses you, and I know it's great. It's going to be amazing for everyone to see your faces during this birthday celebration.
Thank you so much, Jeff. It's great to see you.
Thanks, Nick and Claudia.
Happy birthday to Utah Symphony and Opera. Happy birthday to Utah Symphony and Opera. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to Utah Symphony and Opera.
Speaking of Abravanel Hall, let's go there right now. Concertmaster Madeline Atkins and Principal Keyboard Jason Hardink are performing Massenet's Meditation from Thais. Thais was to be the closing production of the Utah opera season.
Hi everybody, it's Kristen Chenoweth, and I am just wanting to wish the Utah Symphony a happy 80th birthday. That's right, you guys are 80, which is still looking good. Thank you for all the music over the years. I love you.
Happy 80th birthday, Utah Symphony. This is Andrew Foster Williams here, and I really can't wait to meet you all in November for some joyous Beethoven.
Hello, beloved Utah Symphony. It's Kirsten Chavez. I miss you all so very much, and I wanted to wish you a happy birthday to you.
So it's wonderful to have Maestro Fischer with us while we celebrate the 80th birthday of the Utah Symphony. Welcome, Maestro.
Hello, nice to be with you.
So 80 years is a very long time, and many people have had an impact on the legacy of this incredible institution and will continue to do so as it evolves. In fact, your contribution in many ways is still being written. So even though for you it's way too early to start looking back, I wonder what from the most recent history of Utah Symphony are you most proud of?
Well, it's a great question, and the answer is so simple. I'm proud of every single day I spent with the orchestra since I have been appointed. You know, it has been so far, it's 10 years now, an incredible journey for all of us and for me as well. You know, I enjoyed every single day building the organization. I enjoyed discovering the state, discovering the city, touring with the orchestra. I enjoyed commissioning composers, writing pieces, especially for the orchestra. I enjoyed, being in the middle of a story. You know, when I arrived, there was a big expectation of, okay, how can we develop something specific, something which belongs to the history of the orchestra, but just actually write the next chapter. And I loved this feeling of building something and we opening doors to make sure the orchestra can have a future is what I'm the most proud of.
I'm glad you mentioned that future because there's going to be a lot more chapters. So if you could look into the future, the far future, what do you hope the next 80 years will be like for this orchestra? What do you hope to see in the far future for your orchestra?
The only thing I hope to see for this wonderful orchestra is that they have their destiny in their hands, whatever these hands are going to be after the chapter of my tenure. Honestly, I am not hoping for anything else than they are in charge of their choices in an independent manner, in a free approach to invent the next chapter. That's what I hope for them. And what I think about it is absolutely irrelevant. I have this great sense of achievement we've done all together. You know, the organization has been fantastic. The board, the donors, the staff of the orchestra, all the musicians with no exceptions brought their part to the building of what is the orchestra now. So that's what matters. The rest, what matters to me is that it continues in one direction or in the other. Not important for me. What is important is they do it.
I think it's important to talk about the past and the future. We've done both. It would be, I think, ridiculous not to also talk about now. And it might seem a little strange in these times to be celebrating anything, but I do think 80 years is worth celebrating. And I wonder, based on how things are at the moment, what your message would be to the people who love this company, who are in this company, who want to see this company succeed. What's your message to them about the importance of what we do in a moment like this?
You know, I think you have this expression, I think it's American, saying the show must go on. So that's what I strongly believe in. The show must absolutely go on in one way or the other. But I think the biggest risk would be to capitulate and to act or even talk or think in a way that we have no more hope through music. Come to the concert. Every time you talk about the orchestra, make sure that you have the words showing the urgency you need and you feel to come back to the Abravanel Hall and to listen to this wonderful orchestra. Every talk, every dialogue, every phone call, every email, because nothing will ever replace live music. Every single concert is a miracle. And now, just imagining the first time the orchestra will be again on stage as a big orchestra. Maybe we'll have to go through little ensemble first, time will say. But the first time we will play a Mahler symphony or Tchaikovsky symphony or I don't know, Rite of Spring or by Stravinsky, I think we will all realize after 5 seconds what the miracle of music is bringing to us.
Well, I think I speak for everyone when I say I really needed to hear those words from you, and I thank you for them. I'm particularly thoughtful of how, thinking of this as just a small piece of time, how we're celebrating a span of 80 years today, and this 1 or 2 years that we're experiencing now is just a tiny part of those 80, and we will get past this. And the miraculousness of live music is something that I'm really holding out for, and I appreciate you putting that perspective on that. Thank you so much for spending some of this birthday party with us, even from faraway Geneva.
Happy birthday, Utah Symphony.
I really hope you've enjoyed all of the happy birthday wishes from around Utah and beyond. It's been incredibly gratifying to get such a great response to that. Let's get back to the music though, and back to Beethoven. This is the finale from the Seventh Symphony. The last of our special birthday guests this evening is a very important one. I'd like to welcome President and CEO of Utah Symphony, Utah Opera, Pat Richards, to the show. Welcome, Pat.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here. And you have had a long history with this company. This is your second turn as president and CEO. You were board chair for, 9 years, I believe?
Yes.
But you started with Utah Symphony much sooner than that. You were a singer with the Utah Symphony Opera Chorus long before you ever came into the administrative offices. Talk a little bit about your personal history with Utah Symphony and some of your favorite memories from your years.
You know, that is actually the best job I've ever had, is singing with the Utah Symphony Chorus. It was a really hard audition. I wasn't sure if I would get in, but I was able to perform with this wonderful orchestra and do some of the greatest music of all time. Honestly, it is so spiritually uplifting to be able to do this. And I was thinking about this today. I think I've sung with 5 of the 7 music directors of the symphony. All great, all different, just a wonderful experience, and I treasure it.
Are there specific concerts or tours or events that you're most proud to have been a part of over these 80 years?
I think one of the really fun things was a tour that we did as a chorus with the National Symphony of Mexico. And it's the only time I have ever been asked for autographs at the stage door. So that was a real good experience. But I have to say, the thing that sticks with me most is a performance of the Mahler Second Symphony, the Resurrection Symphony. And the chorus part is just at the very end, but it is so beautiful and so uplifting that you could almost not sing it without it bringing tears to your eyes. It's an experience I will never forget.
That is one of the great moments in symphonic music history, for sure. And obviously it's good that you mentioned Mahler, because Mahler has been such an important part of Utah Symphony's legacy. And as we celebrate this birthday, we can't forget that. Speaking of legacy, I've been thinking a lot, and I mentioned it earlier this evening, about arts as service and how the Utah Symphony began as a WPA project right at the end of the Depression, at a time when people really needed what we do. How do you think that moment matches now? Because we're in a similar place right now. What's our role at the moment?
You know, they say history doesn't repeat, but it does rhyme. And you're right. This is a very similar moment in that it's a very difficult time for all of us. And I think at times like these, more than almost any other time, music is so important to our lives. It brings joy, it brings inspiration, and it brings hope and comforts and heals us. And we feel that responsibility very, very strongly at this time, which is why we've been doing so many of our recordings in our listening room to continue to offer our music to the public.
I asked Thierry a little earlier what he hoped to see if he could look 80 years down the road for his Utah Symphony, and he was very clear about hoping that this company will have its destiny in its own hands. But as you look forward from your leadership position, what do you hope to see when we celebrate the 160th birthday of this incredible institution?
Well, I don't think I'll be there, but if I were, what I would hope is that the entire community was celebrating this great orchestra and this great occasion, and maybe even beyond that, the entire country. You know, Utah Symphony is really a treasure, but not only for our state, it's really a treasure for the nation.
As impressive as you are and as amazing amount of weight as you can carry on those shoulders of yours, nobody can do this alone. So who would you like to thank in this moment as we celebrate this 80th birthday?
Jeff, you are so right. I mean, we rely on so many wonderful partners in our community to support us, our donors, our sponsors. They have really made this orchestra possible, and for sure this night possible. So a very special thanks goes to the George and Dolores Doré Eccles Foundation, the O.C. Tanner Company, Zions Bank, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Foundation, and very especially to the Sorensen Legacy Fund for its long-term investment in us, but also for sponsoring this virtual birthday party.
Well, Pat, I think I speak for everyone in the community and certainly in the company when I remind everyone that we need to be also thanking you. You're a big part of the legacy of this company, and I think future versions of all of us are going to be talking about you. So thank you, Pat, and happy birthday, Utah Symphony.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be associated with this organization. And yes, happy birthday, Utah Symphony.
Before I let you go, Pat, what do you say we make it official? Ready?
Get ready. Perfect.
I'd like to thank Nick and Claudia Norton, Augustin Hadelich, Thierry Fischer, and Pat Richards for joining me tonight during this incredible birthday celebration. We really miss coming together as a community to enjoy great live music, and we look forward to welcoming you again to Abravanel Hall when it's safe. We're planning for that moment now and hope that you'll help us plan by offering your support through a donation. You can go to utahsymphony.org to do that. That's all for me. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your evening. Happy birthday, Utah Symphony.
Hello to all my friends in the Utah Symphony. Happy birthday. Stay safe, stay sane, and I look forward to seeing you all in a few months.
Wishing a very happy 80th birthday to our Utah Symphony.
Cheers.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday! Hey, wait a minute! Happy birthday!